Childcare options in the UK can be very, very expensive. And as an immigrant, it can even be more expensive because you have little or no support from the government to help you towards your childcare. On today's channel, we're going to be talking about the different choices that you have for childcare options, especially as an immigrant mom, and really what the costs are and exactly how much I spend on childcare and what are the childcare options that I use in the UK. I would also be leaving you with some bits and pieces around affordable childcare options in the UK. If this sounds like what you're interested in, stay with me. My name is Chinenye Eze, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about childcare options in the UK. How much exactly do they cost and what I use for childcare? So I've been in the UK for about 5 years now, and my son joined me when he was about 2 years old to the UK, and I have a 1 year old like you all know. So I've explored most of these childcare options. So when I'm telling you about childcare, I'm talking from not just from knowledge, but also from experience. So if you're new on this channel, we usually talk about navigating life in the UK, especially as an immigrant. I'm a nurse, I'm a mom, and I work in the UK and live here in the UK. So let's go straight into it. So there are different childcare options for you, especially as an immigrant, and we're just going to break them down, the major ones. Now, I'll talk about the nursery first. The nursery is an established childcare setting that is usually in a setting-based way, whereby you have fixed time that your child can come in. So they will take children from around the ages of 3 months to about 4 years when it's school age. So your child can come in usually from 7 or 7:30 to 6 p.m. So every nursery is different, and you need to check around your local area to see where exactly obtains for your for the nurseries in your area. It can be very, very pricey to send your child to a nursery. When I checked in my local area, most nurseries charge between £60 to £80 per day. Yes, £60 to £80 per day. So now, if you do the calculation, if your child is going to be going into the setting every day in a week, your child will be spending from 1,200 to 1,500 in a month. Now, I know what you're thinking of. That's exactly what some people earn as their take home. So imagine earning all of this and giving it straight to the nursery minders, isn't it? So it's quite a very, very difficult position for most families who have children, especially those who have children that are less than 5 years old, who are not into school, full school yet. Now, when we talk about the nursery is a very good option, but some people usually say that when they send their children into nursery, they come down with illness all of the time. While this is not a good side for nurseries, it is also a good side as well, because at the end of the day, we find out that these children then have a built immunity. I have not proven this one anyway, but for me, when my son went into nursery, now he's in school, he rarely falls ill. I don't see him falling ill, but when he was in nursery, every time he was ill. So yeah, I know this can be quite hard, and if you want to send your child into nursery, you have to consider this very, very important thing, because what's the point sending your child to nursery? You're still going to pay for those days that they turn down ill. So the next one that we're going to talk about now is the childminder option. Now, the childminder option is where you pay someone you send your child to their place. So they are basically looking after your child in their own homes. They offer personalized care to your child. So unlike in the nursery, whereby it's an established setting whereby they have larger number of children and then maybe one key worker will be assigned to like 5 to 6 children. In a childminder setting, it is quite different because they don't take more children, and there are not many childminders in there. Might be 1 or 2 persons or more than one, depending on how big your childminder setting is. And so when you're looking at the childminder setting, you're thinking of your child going into a home-based setting whereby it just replicates what exactly is probably happening at home as well. For me, I love this option of this childcare option, and I've used it as well. I've used the nursery, I've used the childminder option. And for childminders in my local areas, most of them charge between £5 to £10. It all depends. And these are registered childminders. So when you send your child to a childminder, you're sure that they are being looked after in a home-based settings, which is quite good. Now, the good thing about childminders is that they are very, very flexible. Unlike the nurseries that have set times that they open, the childminders are quite very, very flexible. Some of them will do school drop-offs, school pickups, and they will do late hours. It depends. So speak to your childminder. Some of them even do weekends. And especially somebody who is working long hours, maybe 8 to 8, 7 to 8, 7 to 9, 7 to 10, the childminder option might be your best bet. So consider all these options before you choose your childcare option. The downside for childminders childminders is that when they are sick, there is no childcare cover for you. When they go on holidays, there's no childcare cover for you. So consider all of this before you consider the childcare minder option. Now let's move straight into the nanny. The nannies are not the very popular ones because they are very expensive, and not many immigrants will go for this option. So you bring in somebody into your home to look after your children, and you will pay for their tax, their pension, their NI and all of that, which makes it a more expensive option to go down with. When I checked for nannies in my area, they usually charge between 13 to 16 pounds per hour, and this is usually their gross pay, because remember I said you have to pay for their tax, NI and all of that. Now let's move straight into the after school and the breakfast clubs. So this is also a very good one, because when you talk about childcare in the UK, you're worried about the 0 to 4 years of age, isn't it? But trust me, when they get into school, there is also another challenge, because school times are usually between 8:30 or 8:45 or 9 to 3. Some is 8 to 2, 9 to 3. It all depends. It's always around that period, and nobody actually works within that period, isn't it? Especially most immigrants don't work around that period. So you are stuck with between the hours of 7 and 9 when where are the children going to be, and between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. or 3 and 8 p.m. when you come back, where are the children going to be? And that's where I talked about the childminder option, whereby they can do school drop-ups and school pickups. Now, the after school club and the breakfast club is also very good, and I use this option as well. The after school club would usually look after your children up until 6 p.m. and the breakfast club will look after your children from 7 a.m. or 7:30 or 8 a.m. It depends on the school. Before I chose my child's school, I had to check this one first. So if you want to consider choosing school for your child, you want to look at these options if this is something that you would be using. I heard some of them offer for free, but in my area there's none that offer for free. We always have to pay for it. Wait to the end of the video and I will share what my personal experiences are. Now, because of how expensive childcare is in the UK, the government actually does support childcare, and there is the 15 hours government funded hours and the 30 government funded hours for childcare. So whether you are eligible for this or not is another thing entirely. I will be leaving the childcare government option site where you can use the calculator to check if you are eligible or not. Most immigrants like myself, I'm not eligible yet. So most immigrants are not eligible for this, but you would know if you are eligible when you check on the back of your BRP card. You would see if you have recourse to public funds or not. So this is very good. Up until September, by September 2025, every 9 months to 4-year-old will be eligible to 30 hours government funded hours. But of course, there is a caveat to it. You have to be working, both parents have to be working, earning up to the minimum wage or more than the minimum wage, or please, you cannot be earning more than £100,000. I don't want to talk much about this. I will leave the website so that you can read this up for yourself. Let's move straight into the affordable options of childcare that you might have. So what are the affordable options that you have for childcare? Some people would share childcare amongst themselves, husband and wife. So for instance, you might want to do opposite shift with your husband. You might be working the day shift whilst your wife or your husband, your spouse is working the night shift. So that way there is always somebody at home with the children. But there's always that 1 hour or 30 minutes overlap in between those hours, which is always a challenge. If you have trusted friends and families around, you want to drop your children off with them for that 30 minutes to 1 hour, and then whoever the spouse might be will be coming back to pick that child up. So that's how some people manage their childcare, and this one does not come with any cost. Another affordable childcare option that you might have is sharing childcare with your friends and families. So that's how some people manage their childcare, and this one does not come with any cost. One of the spouse can opt for flexible working policy. So for me now, I opt for the flexible working policy. So I have set days that I work. So this gives me time to be able to manage childcare, and then my husband can work on the days that I don't work. And there are still days when our shifts would overlap, because obviously he's not on a flexible working policy. So on those days, then the child has to go to the childminder or the nursery, like she'll be starting next week. So now that's one option. Another option is one spouse can decide to work from home. So if you work from home, then it's easier for you to manage your childcare. That's another option for you to explore. Another affordable option is bringing somebody over from back home, maybe your parents or your siblings who can help you look after your children. So that's another option which a lot of people consider. So they bring people on a visitor's visa, they stay 5 to 6 months, go back, and then bring somebody else 5 to 6 months, go back, and the cycle just goes that way until the child starts school. So really, those are the affordable childcare options that I have. And then just one bonus tips left for anyone who have stayed this far on this video is that if you're working with the NHS or some other workplaces have workplace nursery, which I use, and they tend to be cheaper. So when you use the workplace nursery, there is something called the fee direct scheme. The fee direct scheme is whereby they take out the nursery fee directly from your salary before tax. So that way you're able to save on childcare, and you can save up to like 1/3 or even half of the nursery fees. Yes, I know, right? Thank me in the comment section. I would really like to know, what are your childcare options? How do you manage childcare? What are the hacks? And if you don't have children yet, you're just learning, I hope I've been able to do justice to what this topic or what you exactly wanted to get from this video. So how much do I spend for childcare? My son goes to breakfast club. He spends, that's £3.50. After school club up to 6 p.m. That's £9.50, £14 every day. And if my mathematics is correct, that's about £40 is it every week, and then makes up to about £150 to £160 every month. And then my daughter goes to Childminder, £45 every day, 3 times a week. That's about £145, and that makes about £550 every month. So basically we spend around £700 on both of them every month on childcare, which is still affordable, to be honest, because if we don't have to put a lot of measures in place like flexible working, doing opposite shifts with my husband, and different other things that we do, we probably will be paying more, isn't it? So, and then of course we do the fee direct as well when she will start the nursery. Then I'll be able to probably come back and do an update video on this. So that's how much we spend on childcare in the UK. If you found this video very useful, very valuable, please hit the like button. Subscribe to this video if you haven't already done that. I will see you in my next one, where we're going to be talking about visitors visa. Bye for now.